hearing this, I love you.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what was going on earlier. The same thing happened yesterday. And then I like snapped really close to the mic a few times, and that seems to have fixed it, uh, which is strange. Still trying to wake up a bit. Ugh. Yeah, the sort of the head of our community, our little artist collective, their best friend, who's also part of the community, is receiving a hysterectomy soon. And Illy Baby, the person who kind of leads our collective, they're gonna be traveling to take care of Easy Beezy when they're in recovery, which is apparently it's about 6 to 8 weeks recovery, which is wild. And during that time, they're not going to be able to work, and that's kind of what we're raising the money for, is to be able to ensure them a good recovery, because luckily their insurance covers the cost of the actual procedure, but when people get major surgery, they don't people tend to not think as much about the cost of recovery as well, and insurance doesn't cover that or help with that at all. I mean, shoot, in the US, insurance barely covers anything. It's kind of a miracle that the insurance is covering the procedure. But yeah, that's kind of going to be my focus after this, is trying to get people to donate. We have a coffee link, and as well as a bunch of us are selling our music on Bandcamp, and 100% of sales are going to that cause, because it's Bandcamp Friday, so no fees on the platform today for us. We're trying to get back into the habit of doing this kind of fundraiser every month, uh, the first Friday of the month, because Bandcamp doesn't charge fees, and the few times that we have done it, it's been a very effective way of fundraising. At least in my opinion, I feel like, the whole point of community is to take care of one another. So I love that the community that I'm a part of is so invested in doing these kind of fundraisers. I think that if more artists took the initiative to emphasize community and community care, and trying to use their art in ways that benefits people beyond themselves, I think we'd be in a much better spot. Because if you look at other artists, especially like professional A-list artists, all they really do is take money out of communities. They tour around, people give them all their money, they buy all the merch, and then where's that money go? Not in that community. Most of it goes to the artist who probably lives in LA, and then some of it'll go to the crew, but a marginal percentage. And then those communities just never see that money again. That's why I also think that, art consumption needs to become more localized. Communities need to build up artists who reinvest their money back into the community so that they can thrive and benefit off of the art that their community creates rather than just having it extracted out by billionaires pretending to be common people. Hmm. Ooh, you got a new towel and a puar knife? That's exciting. Now you got to work on your cake breaking game. I'm only just starting to get good at it. It took me a few months, but a flip knife? Oh no, like a pocket knife? That's really funny. I mean, hey, whatever gets the job done. Oh, that's dope. I used to have some more pocket knives when I was a teenager. I was much more into outdoorsy stuff, so I had a lot more utility for having one. These days, not so much. Living in the concrete jungle. But I bet you there's some pretty cool knives out there that are worth collecting. I used to have a butterfly knife too, but that broke, which is tragic because that was fun. Definitely a little dangerous. I I nicked my fingers a bunch of times using it, but that's also part of what makes it fun, I guess, is the risk. Makes you feel like a real badass. That and the fact that they were illegal. I think they still are, but you know, who cares? Yeah. Yeah, definitely more of a wedge than a knife. But I guess that makes sense. You don't really want to be cutting up the leaves, you're just trying to pry them apart. I know that there's ones that are a little bit nicer than mine, but yeah, they kind of all just have that pick or like wedge shape to some degree. Some definitely have a little bit more of a knife look, but they don't really have the sharp edge on the sides. Excuse me. I can't remember if I paid for this one or if this was a freebie from Union Sourcing. I think I bought this, and I think I got the scale as a freebie, which I love this little thing because it looks like a presentation vessel, so it's nice and slick and just kind of matches the aesthetic of everything. But then it also works as a digital scale. And this was definitely a freebie from one of my Union Sourcing orders, so it was worth every penny. Mm.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
So I read recently, I don't know if you watched the anime Demon Slayer, but I read recently that they plan to finish the series with a trilogy of movies, which I think is a really interesting idea. As a consequence, I feel like this season, the most recent one, ended on kind of a weird cliffhanger note that it just, I don't know, felt like nothing really happened the whole season, and then it's like, damn, plot hook, but it's over now. And that was pretty unsatisfying. But if it sets up a really banging trilogy of movies, I would say it's worth it. Because, naturally they're going to have much higher animation budget, and they're going to be able to really just dial everything to 11 in terms of the action. So, on one hand, I definitely get the reasoning behind wanting to finish the series as films. I think there's a lot of benefits to adapting anime to film rather than to a TV series. On the other hand, it really jacked up the flow of the season. But One Piece is in its you know, not quite at the final arc yet, I think, but it's definitely getting there. And the animation has become just so incredible in these last in these last arcs. Where was this whole time? I almost feel like Toei felt a little threatened by shoot, who got the I can't remember who's doing the adaptation. I don't think it's Table, but it's one of those other big studios. And I almost feel like they feel a little threatened. They're like, no, everyone's gonna see how bad our animation was. Because, ugh, they really cut corners. There was a long period, especially during the Wano arc and the Whole Cake Island arc, where you could just kind of tell that Toei was kind of phoning it in, at least in my opinion. And now we hit this these last kind of, I think it's, well, at this point it's like 1.25 arc left, I think, if that. But since we got to Egghead, it's been incredible animation consistently, like movie level animation at times, which is just unreal, especially for a weekly show. Yeah, it just kind of makes me appreciate that we really are in a sort of a golden age of anime. And I got a hunch that we're gonna see anime movies and video game adaptations usurp the MCU, and probably sooner than later, to be honest. Marvel movies are not what they used to be, and the series that they've been putting out are pretty terrible, pretty consistently. I think I think we're seeing the slow death of the MCU, but like an IP that massive isn't gonna just like die and vanish. It's gonna become functionally dead, where it's no longer driving pop culture the way it has. But I think that it'll be kind of more or less relegated to a niche, but still get some love. Kind of like anime was 5, 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, where it wasn't quite mainstream yet, but it was pretty popular. no one really like looked at you sideways if you're like, oh, I like anime. I think that's kind of the place that Marvel movies are headed back to, where it's like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. Like Deadpool versus Wolverine was fun, but it was also not that strong of like a film standing on its own unless you are deeply invested in the meta of the MCU and of the comics and all the references and whatnot. It's just kind of an movie. Luckily, I love Deadpool, so it was a fun watch, but it definitely had room that it could have been a little bit tighter as a film, a little bit more cohesive as a story. But it is stuffed to the brim with cameos and Easter eggs, so you got to give them that, credit where it's due. You can tell that the people making it really love the IP, and I think that's what's most important. Not everything has to be high art. Sometimes it's okay for something to just be entertaining and just kind of popcorn fodder, but I do think we need more films with good storytelling and good character development, because those are things that are sorely missing these days, it feels, especially with TV shows. Everything is all curated to these algorithms these days, and it's so obvious. You watch a show and it feels like it was curated algorithmically. It just has this sort of empty hollowness to it where they're just trying to hit like, um, what's the term? Dang, I'm blanking on the term, but like, search terms. The RFO or something. Man, I'm blanking. I'm gonna be so fixated on that. Anyway, it just feels like they're trying to hit all like the key search terms and make something pop in the algorithm. And I was thinking yesterday how YouTube, it used to be so much easier to find interesting and unique content with a novel format. And as algorithms got more deeply integrated, everything just kind of gradually became increasingly samey. And now I go on my feed and it's just like 200 of the same video effectively. I don't want that. I want the weird shit. I want like people goofing around with their friends making poorly done sketch comedy. Like I want to see people make things that are novel and trying to push boundaries even if they fail. I just feel like algorithms rob us of the opportunity to push formats, to experiment, and to see what could be. I would take that over a well edited, super well color corrected and whatnot video of a dude in a chair for the like 10 millionth time. And of course, I realized that, like, in a way, I'm now part of that problem as a Twitch streamer. But I think that the algorithms are really the core of it. That, it all became about optimizing how you pop up in searches and how you can capitalize on trends. And that shit's boring. Like, really boring. And you can feel it. And I think that the people making it can feel it too, which is why we see YouTubers feeling so burned out and like streamers feeling so burned out, is because a lot of people just do the same thing over and over and over again. And I can't imagine that that's creatively fulfilling. Some good tea. I also have this feeling that we're already in the like end of the streaming era, and streaming as a model has jumped the shark because streaming was introduced as a solution to cable, which was, being destroyed by corporate greed. People wanted a smoother experience, and so streaming started popping off as soon as it was available. And I think that we're kind of in that phase with streaming where now it's been the term that I love, that is an actual legitimate academic term, which is the best part, is enshittification. And I think that the enshittification of streaming has completed. And I think we're witnessing the death throes of it as a platform. I bet you before 2030, we're going to see something new emerge as an alternative to streaming, which was the alternative to cable, which was the alternative to radio. Anyway, um, and for a time that'll be dope, but eventually it'll be ruined again by corporate greed, and the cycle will continue. You ever think about how much of our society and like culture is just driven by people trying to escape the clutches of corporations encroaching on our lives? Especially like our private time. They want to, you know, lately information and ideas have become commodified. And as a result, companies increasingly encroach on our personal time and our personal spaces, trying to monetize even our interactions with one another. I mean, that's basically what Twitch is. It's the commodification of socializing, of conversation. I guess that just drives home the importance of real community, being interconnected, independent of corporate channels, and especially our ability to organize. Because the more we can organize, the less others can exert their own will on us. Like even just things like food, you can organize the community. Is it? I haven't even noticed. Huh. I'll have to find an old picture of my tea tray to compare. 'Cause, I mean, yeah, it makes sense that this would develop a patina as well. That's really interesting. I definitely didn't even notice that. Because I was paying attention to Neil's and, him getting darker. Because I expected that. But I didn't really think about the fact that my tea tray would get darker. So I hadn't been paying attention. Let me see. I bet you I can find a picture. Picture here on the stream so you can see it. We can do a direct side-by-side comparison. All right, so this is the earliest image I have of my tea tray.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
Definitely seems to have more of a sheen to it. Oop, that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. I will say that center part of it has definitely gotten a lot darker. Oh wow, look how light Neil's is in this picture. Holy. Holy smokes, he's gotten so much darker. That's wild. Before, after, before, after. Wow, that's wild. I'm gonna have to do an edit and do a side by side of Neil's, because that's kind of mind blowing how much he's changed. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
I love you.
The T server. I got the One Piece theme song stuck in my head now. I was watching that last night. Yeah, it was it's pretty wild how different this all looks now. It's also pretty cool how you can, gradual changes happen right in front of your eyes, and because you're looking at it every day as the process happens, you don't really notice it. I feel like that's a life lesson in a sense. A reminder that you can't judge yourself too harshly on your daily progress, because small incremental change can lead to a much much more substantial change. It just takes patience and dedication. I'm waiting for the day that Niels looks like this teapot. I don't know if he'll actually ever get that dark, but it would be crazy. That would be so sweet.
If you're hearing this,
This tea's got kind of a sneaky chi. I wasn't feeling it at first, and then kind of out of nowhere, it just crept up on me. Kind of like edibles. Will I ever stop comparing tea to weed? No. Man, alive, I can't wake up. No, not the Wi-Fi. Seems to do that too, more or less around the same time every day. That's too bad. I just made my internet payment this morning, so hopefully I won't have interruptions because I'm 2 days late on that, but that's life sometimes, you know? Sometimes you pay bills when you can, not when they're due. You know what I saw the other day on when I was browsing YouTube? I saw that NSYNC has changed the title of their Bye 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 music video to cash in on the Deadpool movie, which is just so funny to me. I mean, A, get your bag, but I can't help but wonder if maybe JT needs the money for his legal fees.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
You said you were listening to Test Me the other day when you were working out, and I went to check my my Spotify for Artists app just to, curious to see how much that, because that song was kind of pulling ahead as the favorite on the album. So just curious to see what its lead was. And I saw that somebody streamed it 500 times that day. I think I know who it is. I think it was one of my collaborators who lives in Chicago, because I can see the city the streams were coming out of. But I just thought that was really funny. I was expecting to see like, oh, it got streamed like 50 times or something like that, not 500. So now all the tracks on the album are like 350, 350, 350, 758. Yeah, I really like that song. I made all of the melodies basically kind of a riff off of that like taunt that you would do as a kid, like neener neener neener. So they're all supposed to kind of sound taunting in a way, kind of like that. I think I got the vibe, but it's fun. I don't know. I like stuff that has lots of layers that are moving, kind of and overlapping and shifting. So that was a fun track. Honestly, the whole album was fun to make.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
Yeah, you can see that the tea is definitely starting to get a little lighter. I think this will probably be the last cup. Excuse me. Bye 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 stuck in my head because I was just talking about that. I swear, I get all kinds of stuff stuck in my head throughout the day. It's like a jukebox that I just can't turn off. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start wrapping things up. But before I do, I just want to remind y'all that I do have a fundraiser going on with my artist collective. About to drop all the links in the chat. The coffee Bandcamp playlist with all the artists from my collective who are currently fundraising through their sales, and my album, which is discounted to just $5 today, and today only. You can get it for $5. 100% of the proceeds will be going to mutual aid for an individual receiving an urgent hysterectomy. Let me pull this bad boy up here. So, this is what we're doing, and anybody who sees this who wants to donate, please do. It would be a huge help. And I'm gonna leave that up on the ending card. And no pressure, of course. You gotta, give from your own full cup. Don't put yourself out. But if you are able to help, it means a lot. I'm all about looking out for one another, and I think that it's an important thing to do. So, if you can, please consider donating or buying some of our music. Like I said, 100% of the sales will be going to mutual aid. We're not going to be keeping any of the money. It's Bandcamp Friday, so Bandcamp won't be taking any of the money either. 100% of the sales go directly to mutual aid to help cover the costs of an urgent hysterectomy for a member of our community. So thank you to anyone who sees this and decides to donate or buy music. We definitely appreciate it. And with that, I'm gonna wrap up the stream. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. I hope you are blessed with joy and fortune, and I see you soon on Monday. All right, I'll see y'all.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.
you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
If you're hearing this, I love you.